Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. In the name of Allah, the most beneficent, the most merciful, to all my graceful audience, Assalamu alaikum. I am Rahmat Empowerment Wala, striving to achieve self sustainability for me and for the people alike. I'm host of this interview series named Empowering Minds. To serve the objective of this interview session is to call upon such prestigious and honorable guests who haven't explored their own mindset but are trying to empower others' minds too. To serve the purpose, we have with us today JK from Houston, Texas. JK, he is an SAP consultant and principal partner at CAL and Associates LLC from Houston, Texas. So it's our honor that he is here with us tonight. I'm glad to introduce him to you guys. So let's welcome our guest. Assalamu alaikum, JK.
Welcome, Tom. Thank you so much very much for inviting me. Indeed, it is my honor and a pleasure to be here.
Thank you so much. So to follow the pattern, I would love you to introduce yourself to me and to my audience, so we get to know you better.
Sure. Just to kind of keeping it very concise and short, I'm an SAP consultant based out of Houston, Texas. Uh, I specialize in oil and gas accounting. That's the majority of my career has been spent on. I am a partner in a very, very small boutique firm called Callan Associates, which is partner with another partner of mine. And then we serve our clients, whether they're in Houston or abroad. We have most of the clients are actually North American based.
Excellent. JK, what is the SAP? A newcomer like me, or which not used to this term, would you explain what is
Sure,
SAP?
sure. Well, the letters SAP actually stand for Systems Applications and Products in Data Processing. That's kind of what it stands for. But again, it's actually a name of a company that started out in the late '60s, early '70s, creating different kind of business software. Primarily accounting software, and then later on grew into other business system softwares and very integrated approach. Uh, at that time, obviously, it was just a single software company. That means the company only had one product called SAP. Name of the company pretty much became the name of the product as well, because it was easier. But their product names were different, R2, R3, and then so forth. At the end of the day, today SAP is actually the company itself. It's actually the one of the world's largest software manufacturer. I think it's even bigger than Microsoft now, and they make several different business softwares out there and business applications. And obviously, their flagship software is S4 HANA. Um, and again, and that's what me and my team specialize in is S4 HANA. We implement the S4 HANA at small to medium-sized businesses around US.
Excellent, sir. Sir, is it difficult to learn this SAP skills?
No, I mean it's never difficult to learn anything, right? I think the person has to have an interest in what you do, right? If you go against the grain, chances are, yeah, you're going to face more difficulty than if you are going with something that's aligned with your interests. So I wouldn't say it's really difficult, but again, depending on your personality and your taste in exactly how you like to spend your time and how do you like to uh, 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 use your skills for work and so forth. A lot of people, they're really good at music, but again, they are accountants, right? Because that's they couldn't really turn the music into their profession. So lucky are very few people who actually are able to take their skills and apply to their professional careers. And I think I would consider myself one of those very few lucky people for sure. um, to kind of get into whether it's really tough or not, or should anybody even look at learning SAP? I would probably tell people that if you have an interest in business processes, how a business conducts itself in the market, whether it's with their clients, whether it's manufacturing within their factories and so forth, whether it's their human resource departments, whether it's finance and accounting, et cetera, et cetera. If you have an interest in exploring exactly how a business should operate within and without out. I think SAP could be a good one to explore, because that's exactly what this software does. SAP actually helps you actually manage your business, and again, get that information and data processed for you, so you are able to actually take a look at more the reports more intelligently, and are able to uh, 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 utilize and maybe materialize all your data points within your business to your advantage and so forth. So, as an SAP consultant, I would definitely say that if you have an interest in business processes and business management, I think you should look into investing some time into learning SAP.
Great, sir. So, considering its scope, would you recommend youngsters to learn this skill and come into this field?
For sure, because not everybody is going to be a scientist, not everybody's going to be a doctor, right? And not everybody's going to be
Right.
a lawyer. So some people have to be really good business managers, and with those business managers comes the skills of making sure your business is run under one of the best softwares on the planet. SAP is one of the best ERP systems on the planet, and it definitely has uh, 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 shown over the last few decades how they have actually gained their market share and helped a lot of big and small businesses succeed. So I would say for sure, because it's such a big marketplace, and majority of the companies that you see, especially on the tier one and tier two, you would see them running an SAP. So I think it definitely improves your chances for a job. But I think if you have an interest in it, I think it is also creating a whole new opportunity for yourself to be learning a software that almost all the large size companies use out there. I cannot hear you. I can't hear you. You are on mute. I can't hear you anymore. Nope.
Can you hear it? Can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
Excellent, sir. So this glitch sometime happens with me in this StreamYard
Mhm.
session, sir. My voice stopped transferring to my guest, and that happens
Not a
twice.
problem. Not a problem.
Okay, sir. Sir, my next question would be how to keep yourself up to date with this rapidly changing business landscape and stay in the competition.
Very good question. I think it is the biggest challenge we have, because not just your environment is changing, your regulations are changing, and in fact, a lot of business owners. So a lot of our clients have to really comply with all the new rulings and the new laws that are being implemented, and their business systems have to actually be ready for them. So definitely, it is very challenging. One of the things we do is staying in touch with our clients, staying in touch with exactly what's going on out there in the business world, is staying in touch with any kind of laws that are being passed, whether it's a tax law, whether it's any kind of compliance type of regulation. We need to make sure that we are aware of it, because before those questions are posed to us by our clients, how are we going to deal with this problem, or how are we going to deal with this reporting requirement, we have to be ready to answer those questions. And a lot of times it does happen that the situation is so current and so new that we end up actually embarking on a journey with our clients to learn the problem and solve those issues and so forth. And I'm really certainly blessed and thankful for a lot of clients I have who are willing to actually work with us and so forth. But there are some clients who really can't afford, or they're probably such a small operation that they don't have the resources to be ahead of the curve. So that's where we bring our experts to stay ahead of the curve and help them actually get where they need to be.
It was excellent, sir.
Mhm.
So, constant learning is essential in order to flourish. What is the best way to learn a new skill, sir, according to your experience?
Well, my experiences are a little bit different. I started out a little bit early in my age. One thing I know is, uh, when I was starting up, I pretty much everything I was learning was became my life, day in day out. That's exactly what I would do. Just how teenagers today would be playing video games, I would be literally programming, or maybe playing with a new software out there, or even learning how what this new internet thing is, because back then the internet was very very new. Um, so I mean, it is definitely a challenge. I would say, for sure, constant learning is not easy, but I think constant learning it's has been made a lot easier in today's world, because if today you could actually get on YouTube and watch a topic being discussed by a couple of individuals. If you're dyslexic and you can't go to the library or pick up a book or something like that, you definitely can actually go to, um, I think we had a glitch. Sorry about that. They'll go to YouTube or YouTube like resources, and being able to actually watch and hear people and actually hear not just one person's opinion, maybe the writer, but again, a lot of the comments actually teach you a lot about exactly that specific topic. I believe with internet and with all the other communication technologies such as StreamYard, etc., I think it just makes it easy for us to collaborate. And I think collaboration is another way to actually learn. I think in our earlier conversation, we were talking about it. Uh, I would probably give all the people that I have worked with, from the day my career started, and even to this date, the people that I work with are the people who are actually constantly teaching me everything every day.
True, sir. This technology is a blessing
It
that
is.
we are talking with each other like we are in a chai hotel and drinking tea with together.
Exactly. Exactly.
Because chai is my favorite, so I keep
Hmm.
indulging into the
Yeah.
conversation.
No, no, not a problem. One thing is, there's really no best way. I think any way you can get your hands onto knowledge, talk to people, ask them questions, being able to engage engage via any opportunity you get into a learning session. It's always good. Keeping your mind open. I think it's the probably core of it, right? Because a lot of times you will be getting a lot of information as you're learning together. Just keep it open, because a lot of times dots don't connect until a little bit later in the conversation, a little later in the learning stage. A lot of times you just have to be patient and keep on listening and keep on taking notes and so forth. But again, make sure that you challenge and make sure that you get the answers you need and so forth. I don't think there's any skill set out there that cannot be achieved.
True, sir. Excellent. So business needs clients. So how do you ensure a deep understanding of your client's needs before offering solution?
Well, in some words, being I have been embedded with some of my clients, where I actually do see them a day in day out, and I got to live their lives and so forth. I played a lot of roles in the organizations where I actually got to play the accountant, but then at later stage I was working with the IT department that served the accountant, so I kind of knew exactly what an accountant goes through, right? So
Right.
uh, and same way, I think as long as you know what your client's businesses operate, uh, uh, the principles they operate under, and you have a deeper understanding of exactly how an office functions within the finance and accounting, whether it's a manufacturing floor, whether it's an accountant's office, et cetera, et cetera. You would know exactly what that particular user goes through. And based on that, you are able to actually design the software that can fit the user experience. Because a lot of times what does happen is we will design the software, or we configure the systems as very ideal on how it should be operating. But again, quite often you learn that that's not the culture of the company or the environment that they are, or the principles that they're following at their company. So it's very important to know who your client is, the pain points they have, the actual issues that they're facing, and have them express it to you in as much detail as possible. And at times, we do sessions in our company, something with our clients, what we call a day in the life of. So if we are trying to solve, let's say, a joint venture accounting problem, right? And it's a brand new company, we don't know enough about it. We will definitely invite their accountants and say, hey, can you please tell me a day in the life of you? right? Show me what do you do every day and how do you do it and so forth. And when we learn how they do and what they do, we are able to actually understand better what those pain points are about. Are those very superficial in nature and the software should be able to fix it for them, or they are actually real and it's not a software solution? Because quite a few times it does happen that these problems we're solving for our clients are not software related. It's more about how they're using the software.
True, sir.
Mhm.
So you need a sharp mind to understand your client's needs.
Well, definitely, you have to pay attention for sure, because quite often I think you do not want to dismiss everything your client says. I think you have to be very vigilant and be very attentive to make sure that your client you understand what your client's true pain points are.
So talking about mind, sir, our mind needs nurturing just like our body. So what is the best way to nurture our mind, sir?
Well, one thing's for sure. It's a very wide, it's a very big, large question. I mean, you can go on for days talking about how to nurture a mind, but I think what I always recommend people do is when you're trying to solve a problem and you're cornered into a one space and you're not being able to really come up with the right answers and so forth. Sometimes it's good to take a break because your brain does need a little bit of break to kind of take a step back, not think about the problem, maybe think about something else, but let the brain relax. Because if your brain is relaxed and it has all the facts, it should be able to connect the dots for you. But again, a lot of times it does happen that uh, you're so overworked or tired and you're trying to solve a problem. It is better to take a step back and let your body heal before you can actually get your mind to actually do the real job for you. But one thing's for sure, I do recommend taking frequent breaks as you are working, and then definitely also sometimes it's also good to take a problem and turn it into a topic of conversation with even friends. A lot of times I do that. A lot of times I will learn something and I'm not able to solve a problem with a client, but I'll change the context, but I would talk to some of my friends who are really brilliant in what they do in similar industry, and then let them actually help me figure out some of these problems too. So nurturing your body is very important. You got to take breaks and so forth. And a lot of times you can't solve a problem in a very work-like environment. A lot of times take it away. Just like Google has done with their campus. They take it away out of the office, go to the park, sit down on the bench, solve a problem. And I will probably do the same thing. Is I'll meet a friend for a coffee and we'll discuss a few things and sometimes even business problems, and they will actually help me achieve what I'm looking for.
Excellent answer, sir.
Mhm.
So talking about taking a break, sir, what do you like to do in your leisure time to relax and restart for hectic daily routine?
Although I would like to do a lot of things differently, but what I do is a little bit different. Obviously, what I do in my free time is I actually do listen to quite a few other people. I do follow a few people on their podcasts, a few industry leaders when it comes to leadership. I do listen to a lot of people who are actually technical architects out there, whether it's new technologies like ChatGPT or AI platforms, or even within my space when you're looking at SAP or SAP on AI and so forth. I do like listening to a lot of podcasts and meeting people online to listen to them, their ideas, and try to learn a thing or two for them. It does help me relax a little bit too. I do like travel channels, so sometimes I'm sitting here. I would rather be in France for the evening, but I can't. So what I do is I'll probably watch Rick Steves' show on YouTube and kind of relax.
Excellent, sir.
Mhm.
Sir, you talked about traveling. So do you like traveling, sir?
I actually love traveling. That's how my career started. My first job after college was actually traveling around the U.S. and so forth. And then, pretty much after that, when I got into SAP, that was also traveling. I've been blessed with a lot of experience. I've worked on projects that span over almost 5 continents. I've worked in Hong Kong. I've worked in Africa a little bit. I've worked in South America. Worked in North America, everywhere as well. So I think it's been a blessing for me. I think travel opens up your mind because you get to see other people's perspective. When you are stationed at one place at one time, you really don't, get to see the cross culture. All you see is exactly what you think is right and what you think is fun. But the moment you get out of your comfort zone and visit other places and meet other people and other cultures, um, it actually gives you a whole new perspective of exactly what fun could be, right? So a lot of times you're like, oh my God, I wish this was in Houston. Oh, I wish I could do this. I wish I could do that. And I think that's what I have learned. And I have been blessed with a lot of good, great travel destinations.
Excellent, sir. Thank you, Jasmine Patel, for your presence here in my session. Thank you so much. Sir, you have talked about traveling and its benefits. So, how does traveling help one to become a better person? Could you shed some more light on that?
No, for sure, for sure. Well, with the all the stuff that's kind of going around the world, right? Negative or positive. I think if you stay within your cocoon and where you are, you only get to see exactly what you think is right. Right. And a lot of times you're talking to people from across the world, and especially in today's day and age, where you quite often get to work with people who are not from the same country, but they are actually located totally from a very, very different demographic, different culture, different land. And knowing exactly how they react, what their body language really means, and so forth, it helps because when you travel, you actually get to meet them in person. Because this meeting on the web does help, but meeting in person totally changes your perspective because that's when you get to meet the real person. And I believe when you do travel, you actually learn a lot. How do Arabs think or how Arabs operate when they're actually in conversation with you, whether it's heated conversation or a cool, really calm conversation, whether you're actually meeting a person from a Chinese background or an Asian background, whether you are meeting a South African or an Australian or even, in my experience, I'll share one experience for sure. We were doing a project in Bogota, Colombia in the mid 2000s. And I remember we had a lot of cultural and language issues on that project. Or at least we were expecting it to be. So we had on the project, we had a dedicated translator. We had a consultant who knew exactly how to operate within the office and kind of gave us a little lesson on exactly, how to address people, Mr. This, Mr. That, things like that. And we thought it was going to be a very big challenge, and so we were prepared for it. And I think that project was one of the very fun projects to be on, and I think we had a ball, and it was a lot of fun working with a lot of Latin Americans on that project. And shortly right after that project, our next project was actually going to be in Canada. And the funny thing is, all of our, including our project manager back then, thought, what could go wrong? It's Canada. It's just like North America. They speak English. They have the similar cultures. We're not going to have issues and so forth. We went in totally unprepared because by the time we had landed in Canada, we were there for almost 2 years. Um, it's different. It's not. We faced very similar challenges than we did in Bogota. Maybe not so much with language, but again, language is not just the words you speak. It's actually how they're used. So and exactly how you treat your work and how you treat each other at the work environment, it's a lot different and so forth. So even Canada, where the languages were very similar, culture was going to be very similar, that we got to actually learn it's really not. Canada has its own identity, and the people in Canada have their own identity. They're not Americans. They don't think like Americans, and they don't talk like Americans either. So I would say traveling actually uh, makes you appreciate your own identity and also the identity of all the peers that and people that you meet along the way.
Excellent, sir. Sir, would you mind if I cater one of my audience question here?
Sure.
So, sir, Jasmine Patel is asking, what was your favorite country to travel and why?
It's a very tough one. It is a very tough one. I would say there's a lot of places I've been to quite recently. I mean, I know I like Scotland quite a bit.
Okay.
for my own personal reasons. That's for sure. But if I had to pick one place that I could go and hibernate for a while, maybe it would be Alaska. If you have had a chance to work in Alaska before, you would know exactly what I'm talking about. I've been blessed to work on multiple projects in Alaska in my career, and it's a very blessed place. It's definitely you can pretty much take the beauty from around the world and pack it all in one small area, which is again not so small either.
So you like cold places like Alaska?
So funny thing is, you say that Alaska is actually not the coldest. I can assure you, because Alaska definitely is a very big state, and majority of the population does not really stay in the colder sections of Alaska.
Okay.
Where the populations centers are, like the Juneau, the capital, or the Anchorage, and so forth. Those places are not as cold. Actually, Chicago or even Minneapolis, Minnesota, would, or even Stavanger, Norway, would be a lot colder than Alaska.
And sir, about Scotland, it's very difficult to understand that Scottish accent of English.
It can be challenging if you're not used to it, but it's a very beautiful place. I like Scotland. I like Scottish people. I like their lakes or lochs, and I just like what they have done to preserve the Scottish beauty.
Excellent. And sir, what countries do you have in your wish list to visit in future?
My wish list to visit. Um, I wish I could go to. Uh, uh, Actually, I haven't been to West Africa. I've done projects from US on West African companies or assets, but I've never actually been to West Africa, especially like Morocco. As much traveling as I have done, I have actually never been to Italy, and specifically northern Italy, where Italy and Switzerland meet. That's one of the areas I really, really wish I could visit one day and enjoy.
I hope so, sir. You'll enjoy one of your favorite places in future. Sir, coming back to our conversation,
Mhm.
I want you to ask a certain question: how to keep oneself away from non-productive stuff in order to keep the runway of success clear.
Well, that's a very interesting question, and I'm glad you asked me that question because today's environment that we are all living, breathing in, doesn't matter which part of the world you're in, some more than the others. It is very important to kind of keep yourself away from all the negative press, or I would say negative conversations, or negative sound bites, and so forth. For anybody's mind to be productive, anybody's mind to be creative, you have to be in an environment that nurtures productivity, that nurtures creative thinking, that nurtures positive attitude, and so forth. Because every day you wake up, if you wake up with a thought of saying, I cannot do this, so I shall not pursue it, well, chances are, yeah, you're not going to get there. But if you wake up with the thought saying, yes, I believe I can do this, maybe I will not get there today, but I will walk in that direction today. And I think that's the attitude I wake up with every day. Is I know that the uh, the company that we are leading, and the career that I have, every day I wake up, yeah, I am not going to be the success I want to be someday, but it might not happen today, but I will take a step today. So it is very important to keep positive thoughts and keep a positive trend, because somebody said, anonymous, is we should always move forward. And I think that's exactly, because you will make mistakes. The only time you want to look back is you only want to look back at your mistakes and see how you can actually improve them for the next one step that you're about to take, so you don't repeat that mistake again. With all the news media around you, with all the stuff that's happening, good or bad around you, and so forth, it's tough for your brain to filter out all the negativity. So one thing I would definitely ask anybody to do is to try your best to engage yourself into positive conversations that actually have a meaning, uh, have a purpose to create something, not a conversation that has a purpose of breaking something or have a negative impact on anything. I believe that even when we are not talking to anyone, we are still listening, right? In our background, in our subconscious. When we are not working on something, yet our brain is still trying to solve a problem, something. So having good people around you, positive thinkers, and a positive attitude to be able to create something. And again, one thing's for sure, and especially to your channel, one of the reasons I agreed to actually talking to your channel today is because your last name, I guess, as you market empowerment wala, because at the end of the day, that if you can help somebody, chances are that favor is going to be returned in the same manner to you. I believe with positive thinking comes positive attitude, because if you help other people succeed, they will help you succeed as well.
Definitely, sir. The story of empowerment wala is, sir, I am a person with disability, and my objective, my aim is to, empower myself to attain self-sustainability, independence in terms of money and, resources to live my life. So, Sir Rehan Allah Wala has given me this title, which, makes me focus on that empowerment of not only myself, but to the millions of disabled persons of Pakistan. uh, you
Mhm.
know once I empower myself, and then I'll try to work for their empowerment also. So this is empowerment wala for me.
I'm glad. I'm glad. I hope you succeed in everything that you're looking for that is good and positive.
Inshallah, sir. Thank you so much, sir. So it's time for the last question, which is my favorite question. I asked to all of my guests this question. What piece of advice would you like to give to a 20 years younger version of JK?
Oh, 20 years younger will still be very old. I am 50 plus. So
Make it 30, 25 or 30 years.
yeah, I think I'm going to need a little bit more time there. Uh,
Yes.
well, I don't know if I am. I mean, we all have kind of watched movies about time travel and so forth. I don't want to
Yes.
take this conversation there, but I think sometimes you watch those movies and you think about, oh, things I could change, so the things would turn out better. Uh, well, one thing's for sure: nobody can control the future. That's one thing I'll tell you,
True, sir.
because things that we did wrong and the things we did right, somehow they're the combination of what is happening today. So if happening today, whatever is happening with me today is good, then chances are I am a product of that wrongdoing and the good stuff that I did before. At least I have learned from stuff that I've made mistakes. uh, at the end of the day, if I had to give any advice to the 20-year-old me, would be to probably work a little harder than I did. I think I worked a lot. I worked harder a lot, but I think there are things I did not focus on. And I think I would probably ask myself to focus on stuff. I kind of started focusing much later in life and much later in my career. But the younger self, I was into everything. I was into programming. I'm creating a software here. I'm helping somebody with a database somewhere. And I'm also trying to solve a business problem for somebody. And then I want to travel as well. So, I think one of the things I would probably want to do is to see if I can actually drive more focus, because if you have the right focus and the right amount of focus of on what you want to do and what you want to be and so forth, there's nothing else in the world that is going to stop you from doing it and becoming whatever you want to be.
Excellent piece of advice, sir. Thank you so much. And by the way, you look very young, in your early 40s, I guess.
No, I'm not. I crossed my 50th last year. So I'm definitely
Excellent.
51 right now, but I appreciate your time too. I'm really glad to see a channel like such as yours. I know that Rehan encourages quite a bit, and I think Rehan has been encouraging quite a few people from quite a few years. It is definitely a pleasure. Me talking to you today, and I'm glad that you're doing something like this. I didn't actually, honestly, I didn't know about your podcast, and I have only seen about 3 of your videos, or I didn't even watch them all the way. I kind of scanned through them because I think our conversation and our connection was very, very recently. I
Yes.
think this is great. I mean, I believe you've done your century already, so you're
Yes.
doing obviously doing something right. So keep your focus and stay on the right path.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much for your advice, and I'll keep practicing on it, and I'll keep doing what I'm doing with more passion and more accuracy. Thank you so much for your presence, for your time. I know
Mhm.
how precious your time is, and you have given me that. I really appreciate that.
Likewise. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Mhm.
So, audience, that was JK from Houston, Texas. I really enjoyed this session and his company. I hope you have done the same. I'll see you next time, next session. Keep watching my Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, LinkedIn, Rahmat Empowerment Wala. I'll see you next time. See you. Bye bye.
Bye, everyone.